Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I know these last few days, few weeks, few months have been some of the most difficult for most. And, within this time that we're living in, I wanted to have a conversation or a series of conversations to help show other experiences that some of us maybe haven't experienced, to help us kind of grow. I know, as an artist, as an actor, a lot of what we're supposed to do within our job is to kind of dive deep into these characters and find out who they truly are. And it really helps us empathize with who they are. And I really believe that helps us evolve. I called Darryl. I said, hey, let's have a conversation or a series of conversations to really help us grow. I know a lot about Darryl already, but I really feel like we've just scratched the surface. We're not sure exactly what this is, but what I do want it to be is something that, a place where people can kind of point and learn from, just through experiences. And, we'll talk a lot about what's kind of going on in the world today. I really am excited to sit down and have this conversation. I appreciate you, taking the call and bringing you in and sitting down and be willing to kind of dive deep. So thank you, man.
No, thank you for having me, man. I got nothing but respect for you. Know you forever, man. And, we tend to think on the same plane, same wavelength a lot. So I thought this would be interesting and a safe place to have this conversation in, for sure. Man, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Because that was one of the things. And just to kind of be completely honest, and, even I think it was yesterday, I was like, I've been seeing a lot, what's kind of on the news and what's on the internet, and really trying to take everything in and taking breaks when needed. But one of the things that I've been seeing is that some kind of new guidelines for people to kind of follow based on having conversations, because, with everything that we're going through and kind of going back to not knowing how you're able to process things, because I know things have been difficult for me, but I know that things are so difficult for you to kind of go through this time. So I didn't want to be, over jump and come up and ask different questions that maybe are prying or this and that, but you were so welcoming and saying like, hey, this is an open space. And, how important do you find, following those guidelines are for white people to kind of, is it important for us to kind of follow those things?
Well, it's interesting because up till 2 weeks ago, we didn't have no guidelines to follow.
For sure.
And so it feels like it's this new, we had this new place in life where, so now I'm being respected. And now, now you respect how I feel. Now you respect how I think. And in regards to how we're being treated, how we're spoken to, or even just providing considerations for who we are as a person. This is like the basic minimal respect. But I think that, and it's crazy, in seeing a lot of these guidelines, I don't see anything really wrong with them. It's crazy for me. Part of me is like, well, if we're friends, like, yeah, but should I enforce that? But then it's like, no, out of respect for what's going on now, and in respect for the things that I've been through and things my people might be going through, I think those guidelines is a safe way to initiate conversations, a safe way to have those conversations. It's no different from when just say you have an issue, you're dealing with something going on in your life, and I don't know anything about it, but in turn, I have my own problems in my life, and I come to you, be like, hey, Mark, what's up, man? What you doing? And you be like, yeah, man, just handling something like that. Well, look, man, I'm going through X, Y, and Z, and I give no regards to be like, wait a minute. Hey, what's up? How you doing? You dealing with the problem. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, do you have the mental space to be able to, or do you have the emotional capacity to have this conversation with me right now, or to hear me out and complain about whatever I'm going through? So at the end of the day, at the core of it is just really just having respect in consideration for one's plight, their experience, their emotional life, and where they happen to be in their emotions. Especially with this, because there's a lot of ebbs and flows, and I mean, 1 minute I'm pissed off and I want to jump out there and tear some shit up, and another part of me is like, no, that's not the thing to do, but at the same time, we want our rights. You know what I'm saying? So it's an interesting time to be in. But no, I think those guidelines are definitely a safe way and a beginning step to initiate those tough conversations that need to be had, or just to figure out a way to support someone who is black, or yeah.
Yeah, so no, I think that's really important to understand, because when I first read them, it was like reading certain ways to kind of go about it. I'm like, well, hey, I want to check in on my people, that are close to me, and make sure they're doing all right. But I also know that, maybe you've been getting texts and calls all day, and it's like, it's like, yo, I'm good, but this is now it's making it worse. So it's a tricky thing, because the only thing that I was afraid of, because I was very respectful of it, and that's why I wanted to bring it up to you, because that's another way. It's not like a white person wrote those rules. It's like, hey, this is something that a black person is feeling, and these are kind of guidelines or something to consider before moving forward, because this is a different time right now. Yeah. So this is like kind of like a way in to be able to see what's going on and how to navigate it. But the only thing that I was afraid of was, and I've seen some people respond in different ways. One thing I was afraid of was that maybe people weren't having the conversation because they didn't want to like rile anything up. It's like, but I want to show them that I'm there for them. And it's like, well, you can do this, this, and this. And it's like, so it got a little tricky. I just want to make sure that we're still having the conversations. A big reason why it's like, having something like this, but having a conversation so that it is pushing us forward. Because if somebody wants to check in or ask you a question, but they feel afraid to, then maybe they're not going to get the information they need to actually grow to push us forward too. Yeah. So that was the only thing I was kind of worried about.
Yeah, no, I completely get it. And it's crazy because I mean, me and my friends be having these conversations, it's like, my white friend hit me up and said this, or my Asian friend hit me up and said this. And a lot of things, and I think the consensus around the subject is, yes, thank you for reaching out and checking on me. I mean, for one, I guess that's not that, well, a lot of times, and this is the thing, it's crazy. It's a whole, it's not a, it's not there.
I know, man. Yeah.
First things first, it's good to know that you have a friend that's not black who cares enough about you to reach out to you. You know what I'm saying? And to see how do you feel about it. But it's like, and not that we question you being an ally, but at times we've seen in the past where, oh, you're my friend until it's time to jump off the ship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or until it's time to have my back. But we appreciate that. But I think that, and I'm gonna speak for myself. I think that although I welcome the text and I appreciate your support, I much rather see the support. I much rather see you posting. I much rather see you bringing a form of awareness on your timeline to your friends and your family and everyone who that happens not to be black. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so, but and it's crazy. But on the other end of that, it's an interesting feeling when you don't get that text. See, and it's like, although that text is hard, and like, okay, I don't want to be like, okay, I don't appreciate that, but you're not doing enough either. But at the same time, it's also when you don't get that text too, it's like, damn, I really fuck with you.
No, it's like that. Yeah.
I thought you had my back. I thought we was in this together. I thought you was my friend. You know what I'm saying? So that's like, it's almost like you don't feel abandoned, but I think that's a big word to say, like, okay, I feel abandoned because you didn't send me that text. But at the same time, it's like, damn, like, I thought you fuck with me. I thought we were people,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then that kind of forces you at the same time to like, okay, maybe it's time for you to hit them up and maybe even talk about that. Because that's one thing that I really love about you. We met in acting class first. Now we talk about acting, about writing, about life. And you're always able to kind of just really give me these different perspectives. But I love that, even within your work that you're creating, the stuff that you're talking about and talking about, black men going to therapy and, different stuff around that. It's like you're able to kind of, you're very in touch with your emotions and how you function. Have you always been like that?
Oh, no.
So take me back to kind of, growing up, where you're from and kind of who you were, kind of even up to the point where you moved out this way.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. I'm from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which we say Hattiesburg, Mississippi. It's like 45 minutes to an hour from New Orleans. And we like the hub cities in the middle of like Mobile and Biloxi and Jackson and Memphis, all that. But yes, I grew up. like, I mean, the best way I can describe my family is like second generation slaves. Now, I can track back to my great grandfather who I knew, who was a sharecropper, who did pulpwood. I did pulpwood with them in the kid. That's when you go out in the woods and you cut down trees and stuff like that. And then, but we, being in the rural area like that, you forced to use your hands to make a living. And I mean, there would be times when a white man would pull up in the truck and he would, get all the kids in the neighborhood, pay us 50 cents on the dollar. And then to go pick peas, to go pick watermelons, go get sugar cane, all that kind of stuff like that. You name it.
Wow.
We would go do that. And that was our little hustle, you know what I'm saying? And then, but my father was an ex-military, street dude. My mom, she was a nurse. My family come from nothing. But the reason why I call them second generation slaves is because our mentality is like, from the way that we talk, from the way that we function, like we don't believe that we can have anything, and we don't believe we don't like, no matter what we do, the white man ain't gonna let us have it, and that's what I come from. You know what I'm saying? And that's just from being generations of of black men and women who had dreams in my family, and yet, although they had dreams, they didn't have no way to even access or even to make those things happen because of the systemic, the racism. They couldn't get the red line. They couldn't go get the loans to make this happen, and they couldn't get the education because they got to work these jobs. But now I already had kids, and those cycles. But now, as far as my emotional life, I've always been empathic. I believe I've always been able to feel what's around me. But based off from growing up where I grew up, especially in my hood, that you didn't have the luxury of having feelings. You didn't have the luxury of communicating your feelings to your homie. Because if you did, you come off being weak. And if you come off being weak, then you're marked. Like, what I'm saying? They think they can take advantage of you, or they can run you, or they can bully you. And, and at that point, it's hell. Because at that point, once you get deemed weak, it's pretty much over for you. Because everybody and their mama going to try you. But, in my household, my father was very, he had a strong hand, but he was very abusive. He was a street dude. And in turn, that only helped but to suppress my right to be here, my self-worth, and my voice. And so in turn, but all he did was all he knew. And because of, my people, like how my people were from being from slavery all the way through sharecropping and everything, that's how black men raise their family, and that's how they rule their family, with fear and without respect. Not everybody, I'm speaking from mine, but I've seen that a lot. But I didn't get really free with my emotions. I didn't get really free with my awareness until acting class. And it wasn't until I met Aaron Spicer, who I love dearly. I tell him that all the time.
Yeah, of course.
That's my man right there, man. Like, I, for the first time, saw that a man could go to therapy. I saw it's okay for a man to have feelings. I remember doing a scene and Aaron was like, it was something to do. I wanted to talk. I mean, it was something that the scene required some form of vulnerability, and I didn't. And I had to deal. It reminded me of my father, who was alcoholic, and I wasn't able to go there. I'm like, yeah, I can't do it because my dad alcoholic. I don't want to do that. And he was like, well, your acting career is going to suffer mightily.
That's the game. Like, that's the game.
So we get paid to emote. We get paid to show our feelings. So, no, man, he really showed me how you can be free with your emotions and have that courage and that fearlessness to be vulnerable. And that place is where the strength lies.
That's the real strength. Yeah.
You know it. You get it. You know
Mm-hmm.
that. But once I learned that, and I started educating myself with and just becoming more conscious of myself, like going internally. When you're going through your character notes, you start to discover, okay, what's your desires? What do you hate? What did you like? What do you dislike? And you start, you start discovering the journey of that character, right? And so in turn, it started happening to me, man. And like the book says about Stephen Pressfield, art imitates what? The Art of War.
Mm-hmm.
And you understand how art imitates life and life imitates art. And I really just started delving off into self-help books. Started going off and understanding, researching how chakras work, how energy work, how energy flows, and just doing it and understanding my traumas and the things I've been through. And it's crazy how this stuff is so applicable to what's happening now because as a people, there's a thing that's called, you can inherit trauma. through your genes. And it's like, you think back from 1649, you know, and you think about all the way to the present day, where our ancestors have suffered and passed on these traumas. It's a book that I have in my possession. I go back and forth. It's a really heavy book. I can't read it straight through, but it's called the Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, and it deals with all that. But the PTSD that we deal with, it affects everything that we do as a people. I mean, we all suffer it, black, white, whatever. But in terms to what's in terms of our history, it has a major effect on us. But anyway, to sum it all up, it wasn't till there that in my own self discovery, my own journey, where I just started asking questions, why, and then I started setting out a plan to heal all those things and remove that victimhood. And that in terms of me removing that victimhood has empowered me. So now I can speak from the other side of it, like, okay, this is what we've been through, but this is where we can go.
Yeah.
And just leading by example, because I don't believe in saying the one thing and not doing it for myself.
Right,
know?
For sure. Yeah, and that's what's so crazy. As you say, it's almost like you're built to survive, right,
Yeah.
rather than built to succeed,
Absolutely.
based on your whole kind of upbringing. But the fact that how far back that goes, where it can be embedded in your genes, it just kind of overcoming something that drastic, obviously, in kind of what everything that we do, and you know, I know how we think on similar wavelengths, but now being able to overcome so much of that, now it just makes you that much bigger of a threat.
And it's crazy. I don't want to cut you off, but I just had to drive home this point where I remember, you know, even in church, where you would hear these songs where you would say, like the song go by and by. We'll understand it better by and by. In terms like, you know, we're taught to like, okay, not to apprehend, like we can't get it now. So I'm going to go to church. I'm going to pay my tithes. I'm going to show up every Sunday, and I'm going to do everything I'm supposed to do on this earth. And I'm going to wait to die. And then once I die, in the scripture, I think it's in John, I can't remember the book, but it's in John, where the Bible says, Jesus says, where I'll go to a place where I prepare many rooms in my mansion. And so it's like, we can't apprehend the things that we want, the hearts of our desires on this physical, on this earthly plane in the 3D, so that we have to wait to die. Then once we die in the 5D, and then we can start to enjoy the things that, you know, are faithfulness to God. And that's what's been passed on from generations. Like, oh, you can't get it now. You're going to get that when you die. Why I got to wait to get it when I die?
Yeah.
What do you mean to tell me I can't have it now? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, so much around that. And that's what, you know, even kind of talking, you know, how that's kind of been embedded in you. And one thing that I saw, you know, one thing that I love about even like on your Instagram, the stories, you're always, even before all this stuff, it's always something you can kind of find and learn. Yeah. And it's like you're learning these different lessons, or you see some stuff that's made you better, and you're kind of throwing it on there for other people to, you know, check out. I know people are hitting you up all the time about, man, his stories. So, but one thing that was really interesting to me was the simplest thing that you put was something about, and I'll let you kind of go more in depth, but the fact that it's even when people are saying like, yo, what's up, man? How you doing? And you're like, just trying to stay out the way. And like the fact that was, to me, it makes me think like the fact that the smallest things that, whether you're saying them or feeling them, this and that, it's just, trying to tweak or change those things. It's just so difficult.
Man, that, so the one, I think the post that you're talking about is when the two black men meet each other in the building sometime, and you just like random black men, and you literally just be like, hey man, what's up with you? Oh, what's up, man? You got it, man. Just staying out the way. Yeah, man. Same here. All right, man. You go out there, you be safe. All right, you too. And it hit me at that moment. It's like, I've been doing that since the beginning of time. I saw my grandfather do that. I saw my daddy and them do that. I saw my uncles, my friend, whatever. It never occurred to me that wasn't normal.
Right.
Like, that, although it's normal, but it shouldn't be normal.
Right.
Like
right.
that, like
it's like and it's like a way crazier version of, hey, how you doing, but not really meaning it.
Yeah.
Right. The fact that we say these different things in passing, but the fact that is actually just kind of pushing that same mentality that you were kind of taught as a kid, that is not going to, really, really help you kind of move forward. Yeah. So, little things like that, are things that we want to kind of point out and talk about, just to really get those out and understand that.
Like it's so many layers to it, man, and it's just like an onion, man. But and the thing about when you have systemic racism, or you have discriminations, and you have things of that nature, like it's so many layers to it over a period of time.
Yeah.
So there's so many ways that each generation had to learn to cope with it, and then 9 times out of 10, you pass those coping mechanisms all the way down to each generation, and then it just continues to add on. But
because we think they're right, and we're trying to survive and trying to make, trying to put that away and keep moving, keep it happy.
It's no different for me having to have a conversation with my nephew about what happens, what to do when the police pull you over, or when the police addresses you. It's no different. Like, those are conversations that should we really have to have that conversation, especially when we're talking about a part of this government that is like put in place to protect and to serve. And I'm the same people we call, that's supposed to protect us and to come and help us under any circumstance, any situation we're going through, are the same people that come and oppress us and do unnecessary police measures upon us, search our cars for no damn reason, and at the end of the day, kill us over something and have court like Judge Dredd in the middle of the street or on the side of my car, opposed to actually giving us that respect, human respect as a person, as basic respect.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what was so difficult within the George Floyd, rest in peace. And
yes,
when I first saw the video, I watched some of it, skipped through it, saw it, knew what it was even before I got into it, or knew what I thought it was. But then I sat down, I said, no, fuck that. You need to watch the whole thing.
Video. Yeah.
You have to watch the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Because that's one thing that, and you get the multiple angles, you have whatever, like you have to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, whether, I don't care, Democrat, Republican, whatever you are, watch everything. You have to watch everything, because if you're not, you have to get all of this information, and thank God for social media right now to be able to show this stuff. But being able to, watching that and forcing myself to watch the, 9 minutes of his murder, wanting to jump through the phone and say, and push the cop off him, right?
Yeah.
Which, if I'm there, right? And, you have the guy that was filming it saying, get off him the whole time, get off him. Other people kind of talking about getting off him. But the fact that a police officer is standing in front of your way, right? If you and I are standing there and we're like, no, we got to do something, fuck that, whatever. If I run and I check the police officer and knock him off, I might get shot in the leg. If you do it, you're done. It's not even a question. You're probably his friend. Oh, you probably saw this, and boom, boom, boom. Now you're a threat. When really it's just a life-saving tactic that we have to do to save this guy. But it's knowing that those people there are the ones that are supposed to be protecting this person or protecting us, and we can't do it because they're just going to be combative back. That was one of the most difficult things, and I hate it. And I know there's a lot of people talking about this, but the fact that it's taken this long for myself to fully wake up. I thought kind of, I knew, what was going on with, we had these, murder after murder after murder. And all this police brutality, and I take it all in, but I was only able to process it as much as I could process it based on my experiences to this point. And at this point, feeling horrible about not fully grasping it, because I was the guy that understood the Mike Brown death, but also based on my experiences to that point was also the guy that would say something like, yeah, but he shouldn't have robbed the store. Fucking cigarettes or whatever, or cigars, or whatever it was. Yeah. He shouldn't have robbed the store. Then shouldn't he know that the cops see him that way? He shouldn't have done that. But it's not but it took me this long to realize it's not about that. Yeah, it's the fact that if I stole something from the store, I'm getting arrested. I'm getting taken in. If that, or the fact that these white kids are shooting up schools and being taken out of handcuffs, like that's what it is.
That's the thing.
It's like you're not. These things are happening. which they're happening based on where they are in their lives, based on the way that the government has been structured in the redlining and putting them into the inner cities and not giving them the quality education, all these things that we've set them up, right?
You set them up for failure.
So they're set up for failure. So they don't know better, but they also have to you have to learn to survive. If you don't have money, you don't know how to get money, and then you have to figure out how to get food, how to do this, for your family, whatever it is. And it's that vicious cycle. But that's why it's more about, restructuring things to understand that, so that it wouldn't happen in the first place. Right. But you still have white kids that are growing up in the best circumstances, and they're still fucking up. Yeah. So if a white guy can grow up and, and have everything, family's got everything, dad's a doctor, mom's a lawyer, got a beautiful house and best education, and they're still get fucked up, then how are we even for a second going to say, like, come on guys, get better, do better? Shouldn't they know better?
One thing I want to first is you said a lot there, but I want to jump to the point where you said, for one, you had to have that realization with yourself. Yeah. And it's crazy it's like, as much as you be around black people, as much as you know them, as much as you grew up with them, and you still had to like have that. And it wasn't like you would sit here like, okay, I'm choosing to like ignore it, but you didn't know
didn't know better.
Right. And the fact that you can honestly say that and say it in front of people is dope. That's called accountability.
Right. And I know that's what I live for now.
Yeah.
Is to be wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
So that we can be right, man. And that it goes back to the Jordan Peterson stuff, talking about freedom of speech. Right. Freedom of speech. Like that, the fact that you have freedom of speech is because so you can actually actively go out there and talk about different things, so that when you are wrong, somebody else can correct you and you can learn. Because if you don't have freedom of speech and you're just leaving all these ideas locked in your head, you're not going to be able to have the experiences that are going to take you to make you better. And that's what I feel like people that don't really grasp what's going on right now, a big reason of that is because they don't want to say that they were wrong. They want to think that their whole life was a lie, that nah, fuck that. This is how it is. This is how it's always been. Yeah. And things are not that bad. Yeah. To you.
In your bubble.
Yeah, but now if you're able to kind of re-examine that at that point, when you live to want to expand and you want to correct your wrongs, like that's how you grow and evolve, and that's how I really feel like that's the answer, and that's what we're on the cusp of, and in the fact that we're going through this period in time which we're gonna eventually get through it and be better for it. Like I cannot. That's been a world of a difference for me to kind of to live in that way.
Mm-hmm. You said a point earlier about how you like, although you saw that was wrong for him to be killed, and then you be like, well, he shouldn't have robbed something like that. You would have that kind of in the back of your head. It's like, and it's crazy, and essentially that's what the problem is. It's like,
or I don't know. Well, I wasn't there. I didn't know everything. I don't know all the facts.
And then, but once you get the facts and you see the video, but then you see a mugshot or you see a picture that is painted by him in the media like he's some form of criminal. Oh, he had drugs in his system. Oh, well, he had a record. And the thing about it is, so if you and I committed the same crime, right, and say it's strong arm robbery, if it was a both first offense, you might get up to probation to 2 years in jail, say 24 months. That's pushing it. I saw in one post on the same situation and circumstance, the black kid, first offense, 21 years old, got 16 years in prison. And so, I mean, and we're not even talking about like, it's so much to it, because you think about, and that just takes us straight into the prison industrial complex, to where it's just nothing but modern day slavery, where I can do something like I can go steal a Snicker bar and I can get 16 months in jail, and where the state ordained prison places, we call them satellites back home, and they're not prison, but they're not parchment, which is like the main, like where all the main criminals go to, or the violent criminals go to. These are just satellites. These are just like prisons where people go where they commit just thieving, selling dope, or stealing and stuff like that. You heard me? But that you can but they literally get tens of thousands of dollars days and months just for having you there. And it's a business, because then you think about, okay, these are satellites, but then you have so many players that own these buildings. I mean, it's a business where people own stakes and they get a percentage of the monies, you know? And so, but we're talking about people's lives, but we're just talking, so it goes deeper than that. But to stay on topic, you know, watching that video is crazy because, you know, and I got friends who couldn't even watch it. I mean, this again, like, but a part of you, like for me, I have to watch it. Like, he's not here no more. Whether I like what I saw or not, I have to watch it, you know, and I have to watch it because I feel like I'm there. I feel like it's my brother. And of course I would never want to see my brother killed, but I'm like, he's one of me. Like, this can happen to me. Mm-hmm. Just like with Aubrey, the kid in Georgia. And you know how many times I used to ride my bike down the street and I was called nigga by dudes in a Confederate flag, or have a truck with a Confederate flag with a shotgun on the back window. And even to this day when I go home to go see my mom and them, I still run my neighborhood. Mark, it's
easily be you. Easily.
Somebody who had 5 or 6 beers, who just, you know what, today is the day where I'm gonna kill me a nigga.
Got nothing better to do. you know,
real talk. So it's just like, and then I think, you know, and people like, and I think what's different at this time is because it was just like, normally it happens once, it happens all the time, right? But it hit national news once every year or two, you know. But it was so consecutive. We dealt with the fact that it took 3 months before we can even get them in custody, period, or with the Aubrey case, which is
because we saw the video.
Then we had Breonna Taylor, who they came in her house, shot that thing up. The dude, her boyfriend, bust back. Like, he has a license to carry, no record. He's not a criminal. He's in jail. Like, and then you have George Floyd, rest in peace, where to all of them, he alleged. I don't care if he gave them a counterfeit $20 bill. Nobody deserves to be tried on the street. And the fact that you had those officers just looking at him, you had his hands the white dude had his knee on his neck, had his hands in the pocket so casually, like, I does this. And then to have no one have a human response to life, the dude cried out to his mama. Now, you know my spiritual self. I'm like, why would he call to his mama? And you like, his mama nowhere near. His mama's passed. Is his mama still alive?
I think she passed away.
Right. So I'm like, I think he was passing, and I think his mama came to him and was like helping, like ushering his transition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the dude cried for his mama. 40-something-year-old man crying for his mama in the streets. That can't be Mark. That hurt me to see this man pass like that in that fashion. You have no regard for human life like that. If you see somebody choking, you gonna go running.
Yeah, it's like that's your instinct.
It's instinct. It's instinct to protect somebody. If you see a baby that's in the water and it's your instinct to jump in and go save him. It's not your instinct to take your knee out this man's neck, or you see your partner.
At the very least, take your knee off his neck.
I'm not, and this is the thing. We're not saying that I don't care what color you is. If you commit a crime, you commit a crime. You should have the right to have due process, and then you should be tried in the court of law. I have no problem with that. But and so many times you see black men not getting an opportunity to even have that process. They're tried at that moment. At the moment they call the police on me, I'm guilty. Before. At the moment Karen calls the police on me and show her white tears, I'm a threat. I didn't want, and I can have it on video. As soon as you pull up, it's case in point. And it's not even a big deal. I was at home and got into somebody. So I was rushing. I got home. Me and my cousin. We were gonna go to Lafayette with my cousin in the city, in Louisiana, right? And so I was on a one-way street, old country road, and old white man pulled out in front of me. He didn't see me, and meanwhile I'm going 50 miles an hour, and so I try to slow down. I'm like, okay, he gonna speed up. He didn't speed up. Bam! I hit him. Get out the car. Oh, sorry, buddy, I ain't see you. It's just cool. He old white man, I get it. He was just taking his own time. But the police pulled up. I had to call the police. I didn't want to call the police. Told them, what happened. Immediately, I started, tell the story. They were like, no, wait, I'm talking to him first. And I'm like, he jumped out in front of me. Like, I'm still like, well, I said, but wait. I'm like, he jumped out in front of me. I'm trying to, you heard what? Stay over there, boy. I'm going to get to you. And so immediately went to the old white man. The old white man was like, yeah, I ain't see him. I just jumped out there. I ain't see him. Buddy, I'm so sorry. And I get it, I'm not tripping about it, but the fact that
it's those little reminders. And that's like, it's very similar to one of the videos that I saw when there was some looting going around during this time. And the owners of this business, it was like, like a black woman, a black man, and they're like, the cops circling around like, hey, right here. He finally gets there, and they put them against the wall.
Against the wall.
Like, well, tell us where they're at then. And then the one woman, the news anchor's trying to say, no, that's not them. And she can't even say it. She's almost blown away because she's having this realization like, wow, holy shit. And that's what it's like. The fact that it took, not that those other videos weren't crystal clear.
Yeah.
But this one, and based on, like you said, like the series of events that led up to it. And it's just like the fact that it was able to kind of shift the whole world. It's beautiful in a way to see the world doing this,
I get it.
It's the fact that it's so tragic at the same time. Take me back to some of the ones that have happened in the past, right? With police brutality, people being killed, within, in Ferguson with Mike Brown, like there was the big riots and stuff like that. For you and you being able to process it, let's say like the day before something like this happens.
Okay.
Who's Darryl? What's your life like? How are you like, what's your mental state? How much does this kind of stuff weigh on you? And then when it happens, how does that change? And then when it goes back to quote unquote normal, what does that feel? What does that feel like? Well, take me through that.
Well, in this particular instance, we already had two prior other situations.
You're like in it already.
So it's like we didn't get a break because we started out with fighting, and this is the thing. This just don't happen. Social media, we galvanize on social media once there's a video, and then we're able to apply pressure to the powers that be, whether it be the prosecutors, the attorney general for the county, for the state, etc. But the thing about it, the district attorney for the county, excuse me. So it was already two things prior that we were fighting to get, attention to or to get justice on, and this was just the third thing. So this was more like the straw that broke the camel's back. I'll get back to that, but so just before anything happens, you're in your day-to-day life. Luckily I live out here in California. We're in a bubble, so I don't deal with that much stuff because I stay out the way. But you still have those regular typical fears when you're driving down the street, you see the police behind you, where there be 5 cars. And this is the thing. We don't notice the police when it's right behind you. We notice police when he's down when I turn on the street, Mark, I'm automatically looking for police. Crazy.
That's survival tactics.
Mark, my tags are in order. I have insurance. I have no record. But yet and still, the first thing I do when I turn on any street while I'm driving on the car, I don't care what city I'm in, I look for police. And I remember Aaron makes a joke about it in class about how I used to get pulled over all the time going to class in Culver City. It was without fail. As soon as I got on La Cienega and made that kept going to the left instead of getting on Fairfax, whoop whoop, it never failed. But so anyway, as a black man, we're just we're used to it. We deal with it. So before any tragedy happens, because things come back to a form of normal, and you go on with the rest of your life. But once it happens, though, Mark, and in particular, in this thing, when you had 3 things that happened, and then you already had COVID. We were already at home, locked down. We ain't working. You using your savings.
Got
you
the
don't
pent-up aggression, just like nowhere to can't work out.
can't
really.
work out. I can't do this, and then but then you have the fear of what's normal gonna be like once we got out of this. I don't want to get sick. Am I gonna die? Anybody in my family gonna die? Does anybody I know that's gonna die? And then it's like I don't know about my future, like because and then you deal with the tragedies. It was a perfect incubator, a perfect storm, man. And in this whole situation, in COVID, incubated all of these things because we was going through these things in the midst of COVID. With the two tragedies was in the midst of COVID, and then with this last thing, and it got hot outside. People act up when it get hot anyway. So look, man.
Like the gates opened.
What did you expect?
Yeah.
What did they expect was going to happen? You got a generation now that says, "I'm not my ancestors. I'm not my granddaddy them. You gonna see me. You run up on me like that, you gonna get that issue." Mm-hmm. On some real, you heard me? So, I mean, it was a perfect storm. And guess what, though? I don't have no quarrel with it. Time out. I really feel that our ancestors, again, me being really spiritual, I feel like our ancestors are helping us and helping this movement. There's never been a time when we had white people join a movement like this. Now, I would say in the 60s, SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, I think that's how it go. You had people from up north, white people from up north that will come down and jump into the movement, the sit-ins and the marches and stuff like that. But never have we seen white people and other races champion our cause or our plight like this ever before in time. To the point where you have white people from every fabric, every part of society that is joined in. Now, I understand why that is the case. The reason why I would argue is that I remember back, this feels a lot like 1992 through 94, when there was like a lot of changes. You just came off of Bush, there was a president, and he was running for re-election, and we just had 8 years of Reagan, and then 4 years of Bush, and then we had hip hop started really pushing the boundaries with music, and also finding its place. And hip hop didn't just lay down; it really took its place in this culture, in this society. And you had politicians, you had a government, we had a war on drugs at that time, but we had a war. The government also had a war on rap music. And you had everybody from every part of from senators and House representatives, the president calling out Snoop and all these people out on TV, man. And so I think that was the thing. But at that point in time, we used to say this. We were like, oh, he dressed black. Oh, he dressed in black. And what was dressed in black? He was wearing some felines. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he had on a pair of Jordans with some jeans. Oh, you dressed in black. Because at the time, white people wasn't dressing like us. Mm-hmm. But I think now we in this particular time and space, it's almost like a kairos time. In the Greek, kairos means appointed time. But now we see hip hop is the culture now. It is the mainstream. It's not competing with pop music no more. Yeah. You see pop artists coming to be a part of hip hop. They always getting one of them to come be on the track. And so we have a generation that white people that dress like us. They eat what we eat. They listen to what we listen to. They watch what we watch. They party with us. We do everything the same. We go out the same. We sitting outside for the same pair of shoes. So we see a generation that has converged, that has intrinsically just united. And it's subconsciously. It's not even a conscious, like, okay, we're going to be like them. Or we want to be like this.
This shit's dope.
This shit's dope. Yeah. And this is what it is, So I just think that, and because of that, though, that is the mechanism, the catalyst that has galvanized everyone in this generation. So, Mark, we can't do this by ourselves. It takes allies. And if that's the case, then this would be the 60s.
Right.
This would be the 70s. This would be the 80s. This would be the 90s. But
you're saying if you could do it by yourself,
yeah,
it would have already been already changed.
Yeah. But not only that, what I'm saying is that if we could do it if we was doing this one in particular by ourselves, it wouldn't have lasted 12 days, 13 days. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Oh no. And so you have that momentum of a generation, no matter the color, who has not been brainwashed by the old guard or the former generations, and they're really just championing this thing because guess what? I have a relationship with a black man or a black woman. I have sex with a black man or black woman. I have kids with a black man, black woman. I have black people in my family now. Like, so now it's closer.
Yeah.
It's not an anomaly. It's not a phenomenon. You know, it's this real life. It's in front of your face, you know. So I think that, and I'm so happy because of that. Because if it wasn't for those allies, man, and I know I'm on the soapbox right now.
Oh no, I was just checking. As you guys keep on seeing me check the thing, the camera guy's gone. So
yeah, we thugging it out right now, y'all.
We balling on a budget. But that's so that, so I agree with all that. And I love that. You know, one of the big things that I think that really needs to change is, you know, so even in high school, you know, whether it was history, like I was good at figuring out a way to pass in high school, but like, you know, reading history, wasn't interested. I could read a whole chapter and not know what the fuck it was read anyways. But, you know, the fact that now going back and being interested in history and learning about these different things and finding out the certain specific things that are not in our history books that are the reason we are who we are today, talking about the creation of the suburbs, stuff like that, where we're not communicating this to this young generation. Like those kind of things need to be in our history books or taught in school so that we can really create a better generation that is aware of and knows all of the facts still, because we cannot continue to maneuver without knowing all the facts, whether it's facts of history or the, you know, because there's so many things of this picture that we've painted, that is being painted, that we're just reading and taking for Bible, right? It's like, okay, this is how our history was. So, and then that way, you know, now we're finding out these different facts. It's just, we need to go back in there and restructure so many different components to where we live, to really be that last generation where we're not taking it anymore. And because you kind of touched on this a second ago. It's like, number one, what did you think was going to happen? But say we're wrong. Say we don't need change. Actually, things were as good as they needed to be. What do you think is going to happen next time? And then the next time, it's going to keep on, like, fucking listen. Just listen. Just get the facts and listen, because otherwise it's going to happen again and again and again. And like, and I know it's hard, like we talked about, for me to kind of, you know, empathize and understand, you know, when these deaths happen, because I'm not able to see myself. And that's, I think, what's his name? Chameleonaire? What's his name?
Who that was?
Rapper.
Chameleonaire,
right? He had a whole thing about, you know, talking about why white people can't really empathize perfectly with this, because we don't see ourselves within that. And that really hit me, because it's like, yeah, I want to understand. I want it to stick with me like it would stick with you, but I'm based on who I am. You know, so we need to take these other, you know, strides within having these conversations. It's a big reason why I wanted to do this, but having these conversations, get all the facts, because guess what? Somebody else is going to die. There's going to be another riot. There's going to be, you know, there's going to be more protests. Like eventually it's going to happen. If it's happening right now. And I'm so glad it is happening.
Absolutely.
So I'm just saying, in a world where we're wrong right now, it's going to happen again. And then we're going to have this conversation, and we're going to have to change it at that time. Why not change it? Why not save more lives? Why not understand and just listen that people are hurting right now?
Absolutely. And it's crazy because it's like Tupac was saying. I remember watching, Tupac is my favorite rapper all time, man. There. As you can see, I love Pac, man. But it's like, what do you expect? We've been asking. We was asking after Reconstruction for 40 acres and a mule, and we were being forced to be sharecroppers and still getting paid at rates that were 10 times less than that of a white man. You know what I'm saying? We were asking in the 20s, when in the 40s, when we would do the Great Migration from Mississippi. Like a lot of my family went from Mississippi to Chicago to go work in the meat packing places and then in the industries in Chicago. And then a lot of my people went to Detroit, where you from, and to go work at Ford, to go work at GM and all those jobs. And so we were asking in the 60s when a lot of my family moved out to Oakland, when they wanted to see something new and they wanted a new opportunity for their kids. And we've been asking, man. We've been asking and all we never been heard. So what do you expect is gonna happen if you keep asking and we don't have it? A lot of my folks, they living like paycheck to paycheck. Sometimes the light isn't on. Sometimes the water's turned off. Like, what do you expect when people that are living in poverty, who see on TV other people or living a certain kind of way, or you go on the other side of town, you see another a family who is got a full refrigerator. You know what I'm saying? You be in the shopping mall, you be in the grocery store, and you see 2 carts full of food for this one family, but you can barely, So what do you expect? People gonna get tired, and then they're gonna take it.
Yeah, and people tried to do it the other way. Colin Kaepernick tried, but we found excuses why it's not right.
And that's another thing. So I have to do it the way that you want me to do it.
It's so crazy around protesting something because something's wrong with something you're protesting. And if you do it, the protest right, you're doing it on something that makes people have to say, okay, we're listening. So, the fact that how thousands of people that showed up at Mayor Garcetti's house, what happened? If the police is not being inflated with the budget, then how the fuck did he $150 million and say, you know what? Let's put it into the schools, like in 3 days, because this many people showed up. I know, Kendrick Sampson's leading that movement a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a lot of great things. But, if it was that big a deal, it took that much for you to say, oh, actually, this is right. We should be putting more money in the schools.
Mark, he could have been done that. It's no different. And I love everybody pulling up on that main doorstep, because you need to know that this shit is real.
Yeah.
And we ain't taking no for an answer no more.
Yeah.
We ain't backing down no more. So, but it's no different from Roger Goodell's coming out the other day and saying, "Oh yeah, we were wrong."
Bad.
So many things I want to say right now. What do you mean? So you were wrong now, but you were right then. And I know he's apologizing for we were wrong then, but what's the difference now? Same kind of death, same kind of protest. But what's different now? Why you get it now? Mark, we have never seen this moment in time. We've never had the attention of the masses like this before. We've never had the world galvanized behind a movement for Black Americans. Nobody ever has our back, ever. And so we are witnessing a time in space and time that we've never seen before. And it's hard for me to articulate that. And I mean, I think it's probably kind of hard for anybody to articulate that, but we've never had white people, Asian people, Latino people coming to our defense, and even Jews coming to our defense and being like, yeah, they never had a fair shake, And so it's an interesting time, man. And I just think that, I don't know, it's surreal, because I never thought, being a Black man in from Mississippi, that I would see this day in the way that it's going down,
And now we have the power of social media to be able to amplify the voices even more. And it just helps create more momentum. And so many people that are dedicated to not letting this slip up again.
Yeah.
And so many people, not just Black people, which is key. So it's really cool seeing everybody come together. But at the same time, it's not going to be easy. This is going to be still, and I can, feel it on, as far as like in my world. I know you obviously can too, but like feel it in your world. And it's like, and it almost makes you want to say, oh man, like this is tough. This is gonna be, trying to navigate through this. It's gonna be tough. But we have to keep on pushing. We have to keep on pushing through that, and not just like, let me just go but take your break, do what you got to do, but then get back on the train to be able to. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. Like, it doesn't mean that you have to go to every single protest, or it means you have to post something every single day. Yeah. It's like, find out who you are, how you can navigate, and then how you can help.
And I'm glad you said that, because I feel like just with any movement, there's roles. In movements of the past, the younger generation was the ones always out in the streets. A lot of the older people, the more of the professionals, or not even just professionals, but like the clergymen, the pastors, the people who had the kind of a means would help support that movement. So I think out here it's important to know that you just don't have to have, like, you don't have to be in the streets every day. Like I got friends, like my business partners, they are donating water, food, everything for the protesters. Like, that's a role. And the thing about it is, for me too, is like, okay, take your break, but get back to it. But I'll be honest with you, I'm trying to. I can't help it, because I feel like I have to stay connected for some form. And normally I wouldn't advise that, but this is a fight. This is a movement. You know what I'm saying? And take a win. And I'm just talking about myself. It's okay to take a win, take a break. But for me, I can't help it.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's what black people are so interesting. Is like, I don't know him, but he's my family. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like I lost a family member, extended family member that I haven't seen in a couple of years. He's still my cousin. He's still my cousin now. He's still my cousin, but so for me, I just really feel just so connected, because guess what though? Another part of it is that we're close. Like, of course we still got to go through the judicial process, but bruh, we are seeing, like, we got the FBI in Louisville to reopen the Breonna's case. Yeah. And now we had a time where we got camera lenses on Karens and Karen's not all white women or white men. Karen is that white woman who used her white tears to inflict pain on a black person. And what that pain may be could be the police running up on them and killing them. And throughout the season, throughout the last 2 centuries, let's be real, how many times has a black man been lynched down south, especially where I'm from, because a white woman said, he looked at me. He gawked at me. Oh, he was staring at me. And so now with a white woman calling the police saying, "Oh, I'm a white woman," or I feel threatened. I'm gonna
tell him that a black male is I know what the power that I have, and I'm gonna use it. And then she got even just like this act that she put on. It's just
right. So I mean, this thing is layered, man, it's but I am encouraged because of all the support. I just don't want people to get weary. Like, with all the success that we're having, and even cases being reopened now, okay, now you're listening
and seeing the power, and then and how to navigate and what's working, and using these different tactics. It's so layered. It's and that's why even like sitting down today, I was like, okay, let me just write down some of the things that I want to speak about. And then it was like 4 pages later, I'm like, then I'm going to have to do a few of these. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But now, just talk about that mayor right quick. It's funny, my friend Carlima, she hit me up, and she was like, well, she sent it to me, and she was like, what do you see? And I was just like, I see a white dude pouting because he ain't get his way. And I see a bunch of people shaming him. And then she went more in depth about it.
Because the question they asked him was, did he
or will he defund the police?
Yeah, will he stand behind that movement and defund the police? And now you see this guy that's in a pickle that's like figured out, because they're about to either vote him in or out soon. So it's like, okay, you're in this crowd, but you're basically forcing you to understand what they want, what the people want. But then knowing that he has other people that maybe disagree with it.
No, it was interesting for me because it's like, okay. And look, I don't want to just shit on old boy. Like,
no, because he had some strong words right after it happened. He was like, we were like, right. Oh, okay, he gets it.
He gets it. And I think he gets it to a certain extent. I just want him to see him to keep that same energy because he didn't back down from Trump. And he could have put those people, or he could have put the police, he could have sicked the police on the people. He didn't. He allowed them to have that. You know what I'm saying? To a certain extent. But again, you can't do it when it's convenient for you. You gotta have that same energy through and through. And although he was in a pickle, and although he do have people, you can't straddle the fence. Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm with you. Oh, I'm with you. Oh, so you really with us? So you're gonna defund the police?
And that one woman grabs the mic and let's say yes or no. And he said, I don't know what he said, but he didn't say yes.
He didn't say yes. And he ain't say the right goddamn answer.
That was the longest walk of all time. And then you see, man, it was, but it's necessary. That's a necessary, something that you have to see that.
Mark, this ain't Mark. And this next year, we gonna see a lot of lines being drawn, and we can't be afraid of that. We gotta have enough courage and enough heart to see this thing through. Because think about it, even with Drew Brees, you just saw with this comment, and in a time like this, he still couldn't see it. Still blinded.
Still thought that was okay to say, which is great. Comes back down to the freedom of speech. Say how you feel, and now we're gonna correct you. And then you got Trump saying that he shouldn't have changed his mind. Like, right, okay.
All right, but that's the thing though. But Drew Brees in a climate like this could say those words, and he been playing with black kids since he was 8, 9 years old. Pee wee ball. He in his 40s now, and you feel like you can say that, and so, but when we're talking about lines being drawn, he put his line. He put his foot in the sand. Yeah, and then the world ate him up. Now a lot of people say, well, everybody has an opinion. You have freedom of speech. You can have an opinion. But after that opinion, there's consequences.
Well, you can have an opinion on that side. Yeah. Because if you're LeBron James and you say something, then you shouldn't have an opinion.
Oh, no, wait. Oh, yeah. You're going to tell me, if I have an opinion, you're going to tell me to shut up and dribble. So Drew Brees can talk and throw the ball. He can have
an opinion and throw the ball.
So it's just like, yeah, man. So we're going to see a lot of lines being drawn, man. I don't think that's going to be the first person to have this conversation. I think also that's interesting to me as you start seeing like these boardrooms or these major Fortune 500 companies start saying, well, we support Black Lives Matters. And it's interesting to me, man. A part of me is like an old black man who bitter. Whereas like my great granddaddy and them is like, oh, so now you support me? Yeah. You ain't what support then?
No, we're good. We don't even need it.
I don't need it now, But now it's interesting to me because like, okay, I see you support us now, but what does that look like? Because when I go into your boardroom, I'm passed up for a job. I can't even have a seat at that table. You're gonna give me a vice president, junior vice president, whatever. I might have another position, and then when you go into the boardrooms, you see people that don't necessarily look like us. Yeah. So
well, because that's the thing too. It's like, and that's one thing that I heard at Sundance that was really great for me was, even looking whether it's I think it was about women specifically. It was like, look for, try to hire more female DPs, right? Directors of photography, cinematographers, and somebody said it's not just hire somebody. Of course, you don't want to hire somebody just because they're a woman, but there are really talented women cinematographers, but they're not as easy to find. Yeah. But we're kind of built into the laziness of, because we're doing so many other things like, okay, this dude's dope because look, I saw this, and this, but maybe this female doesn't have this much because we haven't seen anything by her yet because she has less things that she's done, but she's super dope. We just didn't know about her. So it's about digging deeper to find those people.
Absolutely.
So it's easy to find.
You have your lazy.
Right.
Stop being lazy. Yeah. There's more than capable women out there that's doing things. It's crazy because I'm gonna touch on this thing after I say this part, but I have 2 women partners, and they're exceptional producers, writers, directors, and they are really dope at what they do. Sade and Deshaun, I love them to death, but it's like women are more than capable. And think about, as an actor, I'll be real with you, I love having a woman director. Like Numa when she was at Black and Sexy in our shows, women have a way to like you understand the nuances, the subtleties and stuff like that. Like even in relationships, women see the stuff that we don't see as men. We miss a lot of stuff. Most. Oh, it's real though. We miss it because it's like, I just thought, no, it ain't that, Darryl. Why do you say my name like that? It ain't like Darryl.
You want to quote somebody on there?
No. Leave her where she at.
But yeah, and that's the thing, is being able to kind of unpack that.
Yeah.
When we do find out we're wrong, when our females tell us that we're wrong, is being able to say, wait, why did I do it like that? And sometimes it takes years, and we apologize. Sometimes it does take years, but eventually makes us better. It goes back into wanting to get better, wanting to expand, wanting to say, oh shit, she was right. Yeah. There's no way I would be here without some extremely pivotal people in my life. Start with my mother, my grandparents, but and then like other past relationships that I've learned so much. Yeah. And I was kind of stuck into this certain kind of world that I was living in that wasn't allowing me to achieve what I was able to, what I knew the potential that I had. Yeah. But and at times I wasn't ready to hear it. Boom. Break up. A couple of years later. Shit.
I see.
Maybe I shouldn't worry about this. Maybe I should do this and spend more time on. Oh wait, shit's happening now. And it's like, and it's never, it's never too late. But it's also being able to say, that's why I changed. It was because she said that, because she taught me this. She opened my mind to this new way of life, and now I'm able to navigate better. I'm able to live my life better, and now I have the chance at the potential that is actually within me.
You know how many times I went back to an ex and been like, damn, you were right. And I have a look.
See, I haven't gone that far. I'm not that
so I don't care about being right or wrong.
Right.
I don't care about credit. I don't care about winning the argument. I don't care about any of that stuff. So I mean, I have a good check self-regulator. I have a real good self-regulator. So I'm able to be like, you know what I'm saying? You know what? Wait. In the moment, I can be like, hold up. Wait, I'm wrong. I might be wrong. Or I apologize.
In the moment, like say you're fighting or something?
Yeah. In the moment, I can be like,
it's so
what?
No, same. As I get older, that happens.
Oh, yeah. Now, come on now.
You know what? It's like diffusing it because you understand quicker. I don't think the females like that.
They don't.
No. What do you mean? You're like.
I'm already conceding.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, Mark. Sometimes they take it as like, okay, you're right. You're right. Oh, so now you just trying to get this over with.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're just trying to. No. I can literally self-regulate within the argument, and I don't like having arguments. I have conversations.
Right.
So I can be like, so I feel like this, you feel like that, and if I'm mad, I'll storm off. Because I don't want to say nothing dumb. But I'm going to come back 5 minutes later and be like, okay, so I feel like X, Y, Z. And you can tell me I don't feel heard, or I don't feel appreciated, or I don't feel valued. And I'll be like, damn, my bad. I'm sorry I made you feel that way. How did I make you that? In what ways did I make you? So I can...
And willing to change in the future.
And get me... Now this is the next part. I'd be like, well, be patient with me while I work on this. It's not going to change overnight. Clearly, this is a habit of mine or a way of mine, But while we talking about it, man, I feel like black women, like, and this is the thing, man, I love black women to death. And there's no shame, no plight to any other race of women. I love everybody, but black women, I'm black. And I just feel like the black woman is never protected. And I feel, and there's so many instances where I see or I hear stories from women who, whether they're friends or lovers or women I have relationships with or cousins or whatever, that there's been instances where they wasn't protected by people, men in their own family, men outside their family. Like, and that's one thing. I have a lot of women friends, and I just feel like we just got to do a better job of protecting them because they're the most educated. They're right now they are like killing it in the small business sector of business. They are infiltrating these boardrooms and they are making waves. And yet and still they're getting paid nowhere near to their counterparts, male or female. And I feel like when they do speak up, that they get this bad rap of being a mad black woman, opposed to being a woman who knows what the fuck she's talking about. You know what I'm saying? I think that we've seen many, many times instances when we listen to black women, shit happens. We're protected. Things work out. Yeah. And I'm not saying they the end all be all. I'm not saying they're the oracle. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying all of that. But what I'm saying is, as this country, not just black men, because I feel like everybody should be protected. Every race should be protected. Every sex should be protected, man, and respected and valued. But we're seeing in this movement that black women are really pushing it and championing this thing, because at the end of the day, there's 9 times out of 10 there's a black woman that's probably over you, shielding you from something happening. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's just
no, absolutely.
It's something that was just been on my heart, because I heard a story the other day, man. It just damn near broke my heart. You know, I'm just like, and as a man, I'm like, damn, I wish I was there. Like, damn, I wish I could. You know what I'm saying? Like, where you at now? Because there's been many instances where my homegirls come to me. Like, I remember one instance back in Atlanta where, long story short, a dude called her a bitch, and she came back to me and my boy crying, my boy Tyler. And I was like, he up there now? And she was like, yeah. I said, come on, we gonna go up there and see that man then. And I went to confront him. I'm like, point him out. She like, that's him right there. And I say, hey, say, bro, let me holler at you. So you call my homegirl a bitch, huh? And he was like, who? No, I ain't do that. And she like, yeah, you did. You know you did. Where you at now? Dude, like 6'3", dude, big. Now, look, I'm only 5'9", but I got the heart of a 6'4", like T.I. say. But I'm gonna hold up for mine. I'm gonna ride for mine. You heard me? That's just how I am. And I'm like that with any of my friends, you know, period. So I don't know. I just feel like, since we're gonna talk about things, you know, that's gotta be a focus too. Yeah, something we need to be aware about and put time and effort into, and that's what it really comes down to. Whether we're talking about relationships or anything that you're doing, it's really that time and effort that we're actually dedicating for that specific thing. Otherwise, it's not going to work. We're not helping anybody by just half-assing anything, really. And so no, I love that you brought that up. So now, as we kind of wrap things up, you know, something to kind of take into, you know, consideration, or anything that's kind of on your mind that, you know, as we take this next step, anything that you're kind of thinking, or we can use as guidance, as we try to, you know, take these next steps. I think, on a outlook, as far as the movement as a whole, we just got to stay vigilant. I think we just got to stay motivated, and we got to keep pressure. There's going to come obstacles that are going to get in the way. We're going to go back to our work. We're going to go back to our lives, our careers, our dreams. And, you know, and it's so easy to fall back into the way things were. So I would encourage all the black people in the movement, and everybody that's part of it, and all of our allies, all the different races of people, to, as we go into, get back into, back to work, that we stay vigilant, that we stay connected, keep communicating, and stay a unit. You know, don't let them divide and conquer. On a personal note, I would say, with any race, you do have to take breaks. You know what I'm saying? You do have to, you know, do self-care. And, you know, whether that be do journaling, do, you know, talking about it with your friends, therapists. I know you said, like, right now it's somewhat been difficult for you to create. Yeah. You know, has that changed at all? Or no, Mark. I saw you had the script out. Yeah. I had I've the last 4 days, I think 3 days, I've been more, I kind of been able to work, but it's because I have to now. Everything that I've been working for. You're getting close to the finish line. Yeah, I'm close to the finish line. Wrap it up. So I gotta stay engaged, you know. Yeah. But it's been difficult, being like just creating, you know. So it's definitely been a challenge, but I'm working through it. And I think just having good friends around me and being able to talk things out and stuff like that. But it's just been a very trying time, like being in pitch meetings and still having to keep my mind right, and, you know, and even with white people and stuff like that. And it's not that they're being insensitive, but it's just a weird time for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't know how to approach it either. So it's
right. It was almost even like starting with COVID and whatnot. It was like every meeting had to start with like, so how you able to stay creative, happy, and it's always that. I hope you're happy and healthy.
You know how I go.
Every single conversation started and ended with that. So now it's like, hope you're happy and healthy, and I hope that you're this and that, and how are you feeling? Should I, it's like
absolutely.
It's like, so as long as we're coming from our hearts and really just trying to do our best, whether that is speaking out and asking, going the extra mile, and letting that person say, hey, listen, actually next time when you come across this way or whatever, like this is such a interesting time, but at the same time we just got to do our best, and that's really going to allow us to then be able to talk and listen and evolve into a better world.
Absolutely. And another point I wanted to make was on a personal note, is so important, like with any ship, in any form of relationship, whether it be friends, family, work, in particular with this movement, because everyone has a unique relationship with this movement. I think that once you stay connected, like it's so easy to be, right now we are in our feelings. Mm-hmm. So right now we're kind of vibrating, in anger or in frustration, which, on the scale of, what you call that scale? I can't remember. It's the book, Force, what's it called? Something Force. I can't remember. I got the book. Anyway. Sure. But anger is like a 120 on, I think it's like either, I think it's either a 90 on the scale, right? But anger provokes, right? So anger is like, it's not a bad place to be. I welcome anger because anger normally can provoke you to move, to make changes to your current situation. So, but with that, we got to be careful that we just can't stay here. You know what I'm saying? So that has to evolve into, like Killer Mike was saying, we're angry now. We got their attention. So what are we doing next? So we got to strategize, mobilize, et cetera, et cetera. But for yourself, I think as long as you're being connected with your personal or your higher self, and however that is, whether that do prayer or whether that do meditation or whether that, do crystals or whether, you're going to church on Sunday. It's important to keep recalibrating yourself to that which you will be in peace and that you can be connected to your higher self, because at that point you're a greater good, you're of greater service to everyone when you are selfish, like far as yourself, that you're selfish and you're okay and you're healthy and you're in your right mind. You know what I'm saying?
What did Jordan Peterson say? Something about make sure you clean your room before you start. You're going to try to save the world.
Absolutely.
Make sure you're right.
Make sure you're right, man. And we're gonna see. It's like I said, we got some interesting times ahead of us, because a lot of us are, we're moving. Okay, we're going to get back to work. We're not gonna have all this free time on our hands. Life is gonna come back, start hitting you. And I think it's important that we just stay centered, as best as we can throughout this thing, man. So interesting days, brother.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you coming on and sitting down, having this conversation. And I want this to be one of many. Yes, so sir. I think, I'm heading out to Detroit next week, but let's try to figure out a way that we can kind of talk about current events or, things that are going on and do, this is something within that I wanted to make sure that I was able to do within pushing the conversation forward amongst other things, and bring some clarity to people and help, like I said, through experience and others' experiences. So I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. Look, I just want to say, look, man, it's crazy because I was like, I've been wanting to do a podcast for a minute. I'm like, man, I should go holler at Mark. But I'm like, no, Mark got a lot going on. I don't want to bother Mark with this, man. But I just want to say thank you for creating a platform so that we can have a safe space where we can talk. And so I commend you. This is not an easy thing to do. And I respect the hell out you for that shit, man.
Oh, thank you,
man.
So
I fuck with you the long way.
All right, love you, man.
Love you, man. Likewise, here.
All right, so we're gonna put this on. It's gonna be on IG, on YouTube, all that stuff. So you guys, please, put your thoughts down below and maybe talk about, comment some things you'd like us to touch on in the future. We'll put all of your tags on and stuff in that as well. But thank you, man. Appreciate it. Until next time.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We're here.